Are we live?
It takes a second. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Hard Things Weekly Wake Up. I'm your host, Jay Teagues, and I have in studio with me Angie Bertrand with a beautiful Christmas tree behind her. How are you doing, Angie?
I'm doing great. It is the day
Excellent.
after Christmas. It's Monday. I'm ready to get the week started.
It's it's an unusual Monday, right? Because you're not going into work.
Yeah, it is. It's weird, but don't get it twisted. I've got a lot to do today. I feel like it's going to be a lot of work.
Yeah. I absolutely love this week right after Christmas. It's a time for reflection. Usually a lot of people are taking like vacations and breaks. I know both of us are headed out of town right after this podcast, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. It feels like it's been a minute. I mean, it's been a few weeks since I've been on, so I'm excited to be back.
Yes. Welcome back, Jay. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome
It's
back
nice
into
to
your
be
face.
back. Zach did a fantastic job, so thank you, Zach, for covering down. We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
And well, before we hop into today's episode, we got two sponsors of the podcast now. We have UARD, which is the University of Applied Research and Development. They're based out of Auckland, New Zealand, and what they're doing is they're providing education for veterans, a specific education opportunity for emergency management and risk management, which I'm a professor of. But they are now a sponsor of the podcast. And the bottom line is, for a veteran that's out there, if you're looking at getting your bachelor, master's degree, the goal is to have your degree complete within a year, and you get an amazing experience down in New Zealand. And so, the UARD is a sponsor. You can go to dohardthingsnation.com, click on Do Hard Things Down Under for more information. And additionally, we're also sponsored by the Lions Guide, which I'm also a performance coach at. The Lions Guide is a online leadership and high performance academy, specifically for those that are in business and in leadership. And they're graciously coming on board as a sponsor as well. So we give them a shout out. So you go to lionsguide.com if you want to learn more about high performance coaching, leadership training. There's basically three coaches, myself, Dale, and Flip. And we're all veterans. And we're working together to roll out some help organizations and businesses enhance their leadership and performance coaching. And then we can't go without saying, dohardthingsnation.com. Go over there if you want to get yourself a Dominate shirt or an Embrace the Suck shirt. We have a lot of merch over there to help you. I don't know. When you wear this, it's like wearing like armor, right? It's like you're going into battle and you're wearing your special armor, like gives you encouragement. You're not going to have a bad day if you wear a shirt that says Dominate. There's not going to be any slack.
Nope.
So give you a little bit of encouragement and just get out there and get after it. And those are our sponsors today. And aside from that, I think Angie, you were very interested in talking about my trip to New Zealand, and then we just want to get some strategies about New Year's resolutions. So,
I want to hear all about it. I know I have seen it online. It's been one of my goal places to visit, and so I'd love to hear all about your experiences over there.
Yeah, so here's, I guess, my biggest takeaways from New Zealand. It's definitely, when you talk to Americans, it's definitely like this magical place, right? I mean, that's where they filmed Lord of the Rings. It's a beautiful country. We've seen the photos of it on TV. When you talk to Americans, usually Australia or New Zealand or someplace in Europe typically comes, or the Caribbean, right? Those are maybe Costa Rica, but New Zealand's definitely on there, and it's and I think the reason that it's out in the Pacific, it's kind of expensive to get there. It's kind of out of the way. There's no easy way to get there. And so I don't know a lot of people that have actually been there, although a lot of people talk about it. I'm blessed that from the podcast, I met Dr. Craig Hansen from UARD, who invited me down to, bring the performance coaching curriculum as part of the curriculum to these veterans. And so we kicked it off. And then, so this was our first, pilot program for the portion where I come down there and teach on the ground. And I guess the one of the challenges is flying down there. So on the flight down there, I flew from St. Louis to Phoenix, caught a plane from Phoenix to LA to Tahiti, then Tahiti to New Zealand. So it was like a 26-hour hopping from plane to plane. And I'm not going to lie, that was a little bit miserable, especially I'm 6'4". We flew on Tahiti Air, and they were a good plane, but it was just cramped. It was kind of cramped on the plane. And I don't know, one of the legs, like flying into Tahiti, it was like the air conditioning on the plane wasn't working. I just felt like it was roasting, and it just kind of that aspect of the trip
Yeah.
was kind of miserable. So the flight down there is long. On the way back, we flew straight to Dallas, but it was still like I think that leg was like 15 hours. And then I
Yeah.
stayed
I
in
was gonna
Dallas for a
say.
couple
Okay.
extra days.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so the flight, you can expect a very long flight. And if you don't like to
Mm-hmm.
fly, well, that's part of it. So
Right.
and then when we get down there, like the country itself, so they're experiencing the opposite as far as seasons. So when we get down there, it's like the first day of like December is the beginning of their summer. And so what I really loved about it was that it was obviously warm and the sun didn't go down. Like it was like 9 o'clock at night before the sun went down. So immediately just
Oh.
felt refreshing coming from this dark hole that we're in, where it's like
Yeah.
dark at 4:30 and cold and miserable.
Right.
They had a interesting weather pattern there where it was cloudy and rainy the whole time. So it reminded me of the Pacific Northwest, but they all said that was really bizarre that was happening. But even then, the country is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, it reminded me like I said, the weather there was like the Pacific Northwest, but it was t-shirt weather. You could wear shorts most days. It was like, 70s, maybe lower 80s. And from a cultural perspective, what I love about it, it's, you go travel abroad in a lot of countries. They don't, a lot of people speak English, but English is their native tongue there. And so it was great to be able to communicate with everybody, but it was still like a different country. Like they have the steering wheels on the right side of the car. They're driving in the opposite lane from us, so there's a lot of nuances there that are really bizarre. A lot of Toyotas, they have a lot of Japanese vehicle influence. So most of the vehicles are Toyotas, Nissans. The only American-made car that I saw on a regular basis was Ford's, and so that was very unique. Yeah, so Fords have a footprint down there, but the people and the culture. When people realized that we were Americans, they were generally very, very curious, and they would love to have conversations with us. They could hear our accent. They love our accent. And they were just, they love talking to us. And so, and what I found was that most people are incredibly happy there. Like everyone is content and happy. There are people laughing everywhere. Like Rodney and I were talking about, like, we're just hearing people laugh all the time. Like they're just a happy people and they're very friendly. Like they would come up and approach you in conversation. There's one night we were eating out in this open, like a lot of things are open air there because the weather's so great.
Yeah.
And we're sitting down eating a burger, and these, I say kids, but they're like 20-year-olds. Like 3 or 4 of them came up, and they heard our accents. They started talking to us, and they sat down and shared a meal with us. And we're just talking about rugby and football, and you would never really see that in the States, where I go down to my local bar, and some 20-year-olds would just come up and naturally want to have a conversation with us and sit down and share a meal. Like that doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
And that type of thing happened a lot. Anytime that you would pony up at the bar or go to a restaurant, like people would sit down with you and you would just naturally, you'd be standing there in conversation and they would sit down with you and you could finish your meal with them. It was really refreshing. Like it felt like 1950s America, kind of like what I would envision 1950s to be like. Right. I mean, it's not like they're not without the problems, but just culturally, everyone's very friendly, which I found it to be awesome.
So while you were gone in New Zealand, I had to go up to the St. Louis airport for work, and I met a cameraman from New Zealand. He's been here in the States for 13 months, and we struck up a conversation, and we could have talked for hours. I mean, he's just so interesting to talk to. He actually came down and did an adventure race with the Rolla Multisport Club. Recently.
Oh, very cool. Really?
Yeah. I mean, but I get what you're saying about he is one of those, I guess, stereotypical New Zealanders because he was so friendly and we were just laughing and chatting it up, and it was awesome.
They're just a friendly people. Like even the TSA, I remarked because even the TSA was very nice. You could have a conversation with them. As soon as I got off the plane in Dallas, like the airport, like a couple of these guys just kind of barged right past me. I'm like, it was like a stark contrast to how they are versus how Americans are. Like it's fascinating. So you need to go visit this place. And I think my biggest takeaway is that there's a lot of people unhappy right now in our country, in our society. Mm-hmm. And every time that I have traveled abroad, it's given me a new perspective on how life could be or how life can be, and different. It just makes you realize that our problems at home in the grand scheme of things are kind of minuscule.
Yeah.
And it gives you a new perspective on how to live life and how things could be. And that was the big, it's not like the country doesn't have problems. They have their own political issues and problems and things like that. But just generally how people treat each other was very refreshing. And that was probably the biggest takeaway for me, was just how nice and friendly people could be. Yeah. And yeah, it's a beautiful country. We did a lot of amazing things down there while we were there. Part of the curriculum was helping them find their purpose and vision statements. And we're having this amazing experience where we're off the beaten path. We're away from their distractions at home, and, doing some team building and some courage activities, like jumping off the building in Auckland and things like that.
Did you have mostly Americans in your class, or was it a mix of? Okay.
The university does have programs. I think they're operating in Cambodia, South America, Indonesia. So they do have some. It's very distant learning. But for what we're doing, the program that I'm specifically talking about is specifically U.S. veterans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they were Americans. Yeah. So it was pretty. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
I mean, all the things that we had lined up were. I mean, we got to see different parts. We were in the North Island. There's basically two islands. The South Island, I guess, is apparently even more beautiful than the North Island. But I thought the North Island was absolutely stunning. Like, it was. It's just a beautiful place. So.
Oh man.
But yeah, if you, I would highly recommend people put this place on their. It's already on your bucket list. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen, because it's worth it. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it other than you got to make your way there. It's beautiful country.
Yes. Yeah. Sounds like it. Sounds like great country, great people.
Absolutely. So, but yeah. So, what I don't know. What are some of the? What has been a unique country that you visited?
Well, we were in Europe for 4 years, and so we were able to. Gosh, we traveled to a lot of different places. Luxembourg was very unique in that it's its own little country.
It's really small, right?
Yeah, that was a really neat place to go. We went to Spain, and we went to the I can't remember the name of it, but the very tip of Spain where we could see the Morocco.
Was it Gibraltar?
Yes, Rock of Gibraltar.
Yeah, Gibraltar. Yeah. Oh, that's a bucket list place. I want to go there.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. We could see Morocco, like we could see Africa from Gibraltar, and we would have went, but the ferry was so expensive. The ferry was like for each way was like €200 just to go 14 miles.
Wow, that's really expensive.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it was just gorgeous. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. Austria, went canyoning in Austria. I'll never forget whitewater rafting and canyoning. I didn't even know that should be on my bucket list. And it was just a happenstance invitation. And Dion and I went, and it's like that, what I would imagine New Zealand is like, just the place that beautiful dreams are made of, Yeah. I mean, awesome.
It's like being in a Bob Ross painting, right? These places, like I don't know. And there's something, but I don't know for how you feel about it, but when you're in these like pristine, like nature settings, like it just feels like rejuvenating to the soul. Like I feel just amazing when I'm in these places that are beautiful.
Yeah. Well, so Bethany, good morning, Bethany Gridley. She's saying Hawaii is a great place to live, and she was stationed in Germany, visited 16 countries. Norway, I would love to go to Norway. Love Iceland, Norway, all the places. But it's so funny because when we came back to the States, Rudy and I were just like, oh my God, it's just it. Like being there is like living in Technicolor. That's what we used to say. It's like we are living in the greens were so vibrant, the colors, just everything was so much different. And we came back here and we were just like, eh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful here. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful, but it took a while for us to be able to really appreciate the beauty here versus it's just a different type of beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
it's only something that I can just, it's like you feel it deep in your soul, the beauty
Yeah.
there. Um, I got the opportunity to go to Thailand several years ago, and 14, 15 hours on the plane was, not good.
Miserable. Yeah.
But the country itself, and the country was just amazing and beautiful. And the people, even though I don't speak a lick of their language, didn't have to. I mean, they were just so inviting and
Hmm.
nice and kind, and it was just great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, kind of going back to your
Mhm.
point about when you're in these pristine places that are beautiful, I often find that the cultures tend to be a little nicer. And I
Mhm.
think there's something to that. Like I lived in Hawaii for 3 years, and there's just something there when the temperatures are good, the weather is good, the people are happier. Hey, good morning, Coda. Coda's here with us saying good morning. Come on, dog. Uh, I don't know. I think it affects people's moods. I definitely get seasonal depression, and I felt it
Mhm.
right before I'd left. I'm like starting to feel like, oh, it's getting dark. I've got, it's getting cold
Yeah.
outside. But as soon as I got down there, like I lit up, like I was good to go. Then as soon as I got back, I'm like, oh, here we go again. It's like, oh, it's like dark and
Okay.
dreary.
Well, and to your point, I'm from Panama City, Florida. And so a lot of times if I'm starting to feel down or just getting the blues, I'll look at Rudy. I'm like, babe, I got to go home. I need
Yeah,
to, I need the beach. I really
yeah,
need to, I need that water. I need that white sand. Because the beach for me, that's my happy place. And, luckily I can travel really cheap back home. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, sometimes, you just got to go and get your soul rejuvenated. And then you come back with a whole different fresh perspective, right? I mean,
yeah,
you're talking about you feel different. You look at things through a different lens, and
yeah.
it helps.
Yeah, I posted some photos recently, but I've kind of taken a little bit of a social media break and just really kind of doing a lot of self reflection. Like I'm retiring here in February. It's been a lot of change. This year's been an awesome year, and so I'm like, you know what? I really just want to kind of sit with myself a little bit and just kind of really figure out life. And that perspective came at a great time because it's like, you know what? It's like a paradigm shift. It's like the way I'm currently living life isn't the end all be all. Like I can make changes and there's just opportunities that are happening. And how do I want
Hmm.
to live my life? When I officially take the uniform off, and what does 2023 look like? So that perspective shift came at a perfect time. And what I love about this program with UARD, it's kind of designed to be that way for the veterans. Like we'd love to capture the veterans as soon as they get out of service to transition, because that's
Hmm.
exactly what we're doing. As I'm asking these, I'm taking them through like the purpose statement, vision statement. I've done all that work before, but to sit down and kind of go through it again myself was
Hmm.
really, really powerful. It's really like giving me some pause. And then you wrap Christmas on top of that, where it's like family and trying to connect with the kids and everyone.
Yeah.
Just it's just been a really cool month. A lot of introspection for me personally this month. But
Well,
for any oh good.
oh, well, just talking about getting a fresh perspective, you you don't even have to do anything big and grand like going on a big trip. We went, so Team RWB, a few of us went to the nursing home in Dixon to deliver gifts to the veterans. So we had
Hmm,
one of our members kicked off this program, found out that we had 28 veterans in local nursing homes that didn't have anybody, and so he
hmm,
he brought the ideas like, hey, I'd like to raise money for these veterans. So he collectively everyone raised a bunch of money, and Roger found out what they needed, and he found out exactly all the way down to a flannel shirt, or one lady liked horses, and one man
hmm,
needed an electric razor. He didn't need any more socks, he needed an electric razor.
hmm,
So the money was raised. Roger went shopping for him. We all got together, wrapped the gifts, and then we delivered them Christmas morning. And just going in and talking to some of these older folks in this nursing home. I came home, and now it's like in the back of my brain, I keep thinking, gosh, when can I go back and actually sit down and spend some time with these people and talk to them? Because there's this one guy there who seems to have all of his functions, all of his cognitive, everything
hmm,
there. And he just wanted to talk about his experiences in the Korean War. And, I'm not sure what he did in the military. I can't, I think he was maybe in the army, but
hmm,
he was. His clothes were pressed. His hair was combed. He was just the kindest, cheeriest little old man you ever want to talk to. But even that is just a whole different perspective. It
Yeah.
just makes you feel good and see things a little bit differently.
Yeah. Well, the sense of volunteering and connecting with people that have experiences. And I mean, how often would you get to talk to a Korean War veteran? They're few and far
Right.
between now.
Right.
And that's sad. You said 28 of them?
Yeah.
Wow. Without a
Mm-hmm.
family. That's sad.
Yeah.
But I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Roger is awesome. I love Roger to death. And that's awesome that he spearheaded that
Yeah.
for those individuals. But to your point, I think, yeah, you don't have to travel abroad to find, amazing opportunities to connect and find yourself. Volunteering and having conversations with other
Mm-hmm.
people, I think, is definitely a great way. And what a noble thing to do. I mean, that's got to just warm your heart.
Although traveling abroad, if you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we were having this conversation down there. Like, I've definitely had a whole, like, there's a lot of countries that you mentioned that I want to go to. I want to go see Gibraltar. I want to go to Iceland. Mm-hmm. I want to go to Norway and Finland, and I want to go to Thailand. I want to go to all these places. But why haven't I? As I look back in my life, obviously it takes a big effort. But I think a lot of it was I wasn't really crystal clear. Like, there's a lot of things I want to do, but they all seem like they're very, like, it's kind of daunting. And when I think about it, it's and a lot of people have a lot of things that they want to do, but without focus and making it breaking these things down into like bite-sized chunks and making it a priority, you'll never achieve it. And then these things become like a regret list later in life. And as we're having this conversation, I've been talking to some people that travel regularly abroad, and just this one simple trip. Just choose one new country to go to every year and make that your thing. And by the end of, like 30 or 40 years, you've at least visited, 30 to 40 countries. Maybe you can double up and say, if you go to Europe, you can hit a couple of them, but just making like the simple shift, like, you know what, I'm going to make it a point every year to go travel abroad. And go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was just thinking about it. We were there for 4 years, and I invited everyone that I knew, everyone. I said, hey, look, I'll pay for your passport. You just get here. You have somewhere to stay, and we'll go. And the only person to take me up on it was my mom. The whole 4 years.
That's crazy. Why do you think that is? Yeah. Why do you think Americans are very like homebody-ish?
A few people were scared to travel, to be in the air that long. Just the thought of a, what was it, 9-hour flight from, over there or whatever it was. A lot of people were just afraid to take. It was a really big step. It's something that didn't seem within reach. And even though the opportunity was there, it was just not a step. A lot of people just aren't willing to take that step.
Yeah,
and that's sad.
It's fear. Fear-based. Yeah. Well, there's definitely like this weird thing, like within our society and media, like if you go abroad, like it's so dangerous everywhere. Like, do you think that's on purpose? What's that about?
Man, I'm so, the media. So I would say my tip to anyone that watches the media, maybe stop. Maybe get a well-rounded view of the media, and just know you're only seeing less than 1% of how people are and what's really going on in the world. So that's all I'm going to say on that. I would say don't base your life decisions on what you see in the news necessarily.
We get little snippets every now and then. Lacey will play like the Sunday morning news. I remember this from like 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4. It was before I left, probably about a month ago. Sunday morning, and they're like, okay, now in world news, there's like a couple of like different stories, and they were like mass murders. Like every one of them, there's like 3 like one mass shooting down in like Mexico City, and then bombing like in Beirut or something. I don't. It was just like, of all the things happening in the world, this is what you're gonna highlight a couple of your talking points on.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
just, I think generally people are scared. Like people are scared to travel out and say, we're here, we're with what we know. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. But I just go out there and I just encourage you, if you have a place, put it on your bucket list, put it on your resolution list for 2023. If there's a place you want to go, make it happen. Make it
Yes.
happen, because
Go. Do.
we
See. Meet the people.
yes,
Eat
get
the
that
food.
experience. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, have the experience. So, well, hey, on the topic of New Year's resolutions, I know a lot of people, like, this is a big week for people to really reflect on their past year, and they start looking at 2023, and it's the whole new year, new me, which I think is awesome. I think it's great that people are looking at improvement. The downside is people often kick off these New Year's resolutions, and they start off with good intentions. January, they're crushing it. Maybe they get into February, but then at the end, their old habits kind of creep back in, and they kind of gravitate back into their old ways. Yeah. And so what I wanted to do this morning is just talk about that real briefly, and maybe give some people some things to think about as they identify what they want to crush in regards to their goals for January, February, and into the next year. I think people's goals they're not directly tied in with their greater vision. And so what happens is you're choosing the wrong goals. You're choosing a goal because someone else is doing it. There might be a challenge or someone else like I remember the 75 hard phenomenon, the FOMO thing. Oh, I need to do that too because everyone else is doing it. And then most people don't finish it. It's because it wasn't your goal. It was someone else's goal that you kind of attached yourself to. Mm-hmm. And I think people are choosing goals that are solving for an immediate problem versus choosing a goal that's in alignment with their greater vision and greater purpose. Mm-hmm. And so as you think about what you want to accomplish this year in your New Year's resolution, I just challenge those that are listening to kind of raise your ambition and think a little bit more long-term. Don't think about, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds so I can fit in this dress for a wedding I got to go to in spring. Think about, I want to be a fitter person so I can run, a 10K with my grandchild one day, or, I want to enjoy my life later in life and be mobile and be fit, or I just want to be a healthier person with more energy. Something that's, because you'll naturally achieve that goal and live a better life because it's more in alignment with your vision, and the chance of you achieving it will be greater because it's in alignment with your vision, greater purpose.
Dude, that you are speaking my language. I have lived that. I have done that. I've got the t-shirts and the scars to prove it. I'm going to tell you right now. My initially back in 99 when I lost weight and got healthy, it was for all the wrong reasons. It was literally based on appearance and not on health. It was a short-term appearance goal. And even though I maintained it for 9 years, I went past I made it past the 5-year mark. It was still always about how I perceived myself and how I wanted to look, not about how I felt. And so the second time around, it's been, yes, the appearance part comes, but it's just like you said, I want my grandbabies to be chasing me when I'm 80 years old. I don't want to be broke with a cane, walking around. I want to be healthy. I want to be fit. And when you change that mindset, when you do it to become healthy, all those other things, it just naturally comes along. It naturally comes along.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you'll be there.
It's insane. It's insane, because I've lived it. I've done it. I
think of Stephanie Valdivia's grandmother, Socorro. She's in her, I think she's upper 70s, lower 80s. And she's out there like hiking, like significantly long hikes, like the El Caminos across like Spain. She's still able to do these epic, like multi-day, multi-week, like really long hikes in her age. And she's aging gracefully. That's where I want to be,
Yep.
But a lot of people are so short-sighted, like, I'm not feeling good about myself, so I need to lose 10 pounds. And they do the yo-yo thing, and they're never happy with it. They've never achieved the level of success that they want. Same with finances, same with, other aspects of your life. Like, So when you think about making changes in your New Year's resolutions this year, I just want you to think a little bit deeper. Think about raise your ambition and think about who you want to become as a person. And I don't know, don't get so caught up in that trappings of I need to solve for this immediate problem. If you think a little bit bigger.
Don't get caught up in the marketing schemes. And oh, by the way, she's 75. Stephanie said she's 75 and she's
75.
Back next year. Yeah. That's
it's incredible.
She is who I want to be. But don't let yourself get caught up in these rebranded marketing schemes. Yeah. Right? I mean, seriously, they're everywhere. If you say, well, I don't watch the news or I don't, whatever, you're going to get marketing thrown at you through all social media, Facebook, Instagram, all the social medias, YouTube. YouTube has commercials now. I just want you to, when you're getting, when you're seeing these marketing programs come through for a fit, healthier new you, if you do A, B, C, and D, look really deep into them. And 9 out of 10 times, it's just something that's been around for 20 years, rebranded, reworded for whatever the new catchphrases are this year. All I'm saying is look deeper, just like Jay said.
And those marketing schemes are really good. I mean, they understand psychology. They're playing to it. They're playing you. So beware. Buyer beware.
Yes.
If it's too good to be true or it's too simple, like this probably that's a red flag. So anyway, I just want to see people win. I want to see people stick to their goals, commit to what they start. And I know that this is a great week for self-reflection and identifying what those goals are, so they can crush it.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, oh my gosh, my computer is acting crazy right now. Everything just kind of crashed out on me.
Well, while you're getting that pulled up, I just want to say, Stephanie, I see she commented earlier that she's in seasonal depression right now, and it's been tough. Stephanie, I love you. Yeah, here's a hug. I wish I could have come over here today and give you a big old hug. Oh,
I didn't realize how it affected me until Lacey kind of pointed it out to me like 2 years ago. We went on a trip in January down to Mexico, and I felt immediately better. I'm like, you know what? There's something to that. I didn't realize how bad it affected me. And so I think it's important to do what you got to do to combat the seasonal depression thing. Something simple that my friends in Canada, because they live up north where it gets even darker, those little lights, I guess they just sit there like in the morning when they're having breakfast and they put the lights on them. And I guess that makes them feel better.
Is that like daylight balance lights?
Yeah, there's something to that. Like it just gives you more vitamin D and the body just naturally absorbs it and it kind of affects your mood. I guess we as a society have a big vitamin D deficiency because that's where you get that from sunlight. And obviously in the wintertime, you're not getting nearly as much and it has a direct effect on your mood. So
it does. Since the time has changed, I have been wanting to go to bed at 5:00 p.m. I mean, wow. Like legit. I mean, it's been really tough this year. And I didn't even realize it until we're sitting here talking about it. Usually I'm really good with time change. This year I have not been. And maybe that's part of that seasonal depression change, mood shift, all the things. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, this polar vortex or whatever that blew in here didn't help either.
Yeah.
As we're filming this and recording this, it's been like, I don't know, when it came in like 0 degrees with negative wind chill of like 30.
Oh yeah, that had to be fun coming back to you. Hey, look at that. Good morning, Kevin. Kevin says, thanks for sharing about your travels, reflection on the last year, and inspiration for the new year.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Oh yeah, a lot of comments this morning. So, well, hey, okay, sorry, my computer's kind of crashed out with me. I want to give some people some talking points, but we're already at 35 minutes. I know you got to hit the road. I got to hit the road. So we'll finish up that chat next week about helping people identify the right New Year's resolution. But I want to get into this week's weekly wake up winner. I apologize. I had more photos up here, but my hard drive just kind of went and I had to shut everything down. So, all right, give me a second here. Let me share my screen.
What electronics do.
I know. And I have a
most all right, so this week's
winner. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is
I can see
This
it.
is Melissa Stitchell. She is a Navy veteran, and she was one of the students with us in down in New Zealand. And what I love about Melissa is that she wasn't planning on doing any of the adventurous stuff. We jumped off the building in the tower. There's a huge tower in Auckland that it basically it overshadows every other building. It's the highest structure in Auckland, and we jumped off the 53rd floor. So basically like a bungee jump style. Most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life. I'm not going to lie. Like I'm the do hard things guy. I was absolutely terrified. She had no intention of doing it, but she saw me and Rodney. We kind of talked through it, and then she suited up and she did it herself. And I just a huge shout out because I know how terrifying that was for me personally. And for her to have the courage to say, you know what, you guys are doing it, I'm doing it too, was just incredible to see the whole process kind of pan out. So I don't know if you can see her here in the middle. The tower is like right here.
Oh,
Like you see all the high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
It's like the highest thing, almost that's where we jumped off. And it was absolutely incredible. We also did some some ocean kayaking, and she was terrified of that too. And I mean, no joke. The ocean kayaking is a little terrifying. And there's one point out there where an orca, like about the size of my Forerunner, like basically popped up right next to their kayak. And it was actually an incredible moment. But she faced her fear there. She almost didn't go because she was terrified, and she almost would have missed out on that moment with the orca popping up. So, Melissa, thank you so much for your service to our country in the U.S. Navy. Thank you for facing your fear and encouraging others. It's definitely inspired me. And she's pursuing her degree in emergency management, continues looking to serve, and she's stepping out of her comfort zone once again. They do not have Zumba in New Zealand anywhere, and she's a Zumba instructor. She recently got certified, and she's been scared about starting, but she's gonna teach a class in Auckland. First time Zumba has ever been. I told her she could be like the Zumba queen of New Zealand and probably be.
Yes, she can. Oh, Melissa, congratulations, girl! You got this. You got this, Melissa. Coming from somebody that has taught group fitness, I know how scary it is. And yes, you got it. Get out there and shake your thing. And I'm telling you, they are going to follow, and they're going to love it.
I remember the first time I taught group fitness. I was an insanity instructor, and I remember doing a big launch. It was like the gym was just launching. So many people there. I was terrified. One of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life is teach for the first time. But it's so energizing. Like, I love it.
It is.
So,
well, once you get out there and once you're moving and you see the people moving, it's great. You just keep going. But you were talking about how she didn't think she was going to do this, right? She didn't think she was going to jump and do these hard things. Isn't that a testament to the power of who you're surrounding yourself with?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a huge difference. Yes.
Right? That is amazing because there's so many things that we wouldn't do on our own. But when we surround ourselves with people with the same goals and dreams and determination, she jumped off a building. Holy cow. That is awesome.
Yeah. 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 And speaking of which, like I'm about ready to hit the end broadcast button here, but Lacey and I, we're taking the kids skiing. It's something I've wanted to take my kids for a long time. And I just, being around her and her encouragement, like she planned this thing. We're making it happen. So like, I was thinking about that the last couple of days. I'm like, this is really awesome. And I really appreciate her for that. So surround yourself with the right people. Go do epic shit.
Yes.
Do hard things.
Do it.
So
do something that makes you smile today.
Absolutely. Well, Angie, have a safe trip. Everyone out there.
You too.
Post Merry Christmas and make 2023 just an epic year and raise your ambition. Yes. Do hard things. Make someone smile. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
All right. We'll see you.
Peace.